from Bengal volunteers. Well, veritas is a Latin word which means the truth in English. In Sanskrit and Bengali, it's Chirantan Satya, Shotto, the truth. What we try to hear from everybody is the truth that ignites the human passion, that shapes the human destiny, and brightens the possibility of success in future. Today our topic is on Sri Purin Bihari Das, one of the most colossal figures in the revolutionary saga of Bengal's independence movement in the last century. And not only in Bengal, he had been present, his name was present across India. He was a close associate of Bal Gangadhar Tilak in Maharashtra, Dr. Balakrishna Shivram Munje, and has been known for his profound and exemplary activities, founding the Dhaka Unnushan Samiti, and the Dhaka Samiti outsmarted the original branch in Calcutta even. He was known for making or generating hundreds of revolutionaries that shocked the British imperialism, that stirred the British imperialism, and all this can be found if anyone gets into the Rowlatt Commission's report. Now, to know more of him, we are fortunate enough to be joined by his worthy grandson, Sir Vishwaranjan Das. Vishwaranjan Das happens to be a professional, a very good human being, a great elder brother to all, and also the president of Purin Bihari Das Memorial at this moment. So he has already been brought in. So I hope you are going to have a great discourse, a thoughtful considerations on something that must be known to everybody. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Vishwada.
Good evening.
I think you are quite fit and fine.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Thank you, thank you. So, Vishwada, before moving anywhere else, I would like to know from you, please share something, some snippets or some exemplary incidents of your illustrious grandfather.
Thank you very much, Shoni Mitro, and namaskar to you and everybody who will be listening to us today. We'll be talking very much, rather we will concentrate on the issue which is normally not known to the masses as such, or for that matter, who are the history seekers. Now, you know that in a class, there are exceptional students. There are quite a few. But all exceptional students are not always revolutionary. But you know, revolutionaries are always exceptional. So that's the point. And you have broached up a wonderful discourse right today, where we have the opportunity to worship those revolutionaries who are no less than a god to us. And since we'll be talking about the truth, we will go along and set the ball rolling in today's discussion through the eyes and lenses of Pulin Bihari Das himself. So let me start with the formation of Anushilan Samiti, which we know through the history books or through internet, a few things. But I'll be telling you something which perhaps you'll be listening for the first time, because it is said by Pulin Bihari Das only. Now, what is said that during the period around 1870s onward, everybody during that time in Bengal uh, they were quite upset with the idea that Shunnashi Bidroho, which has been in 17 and 70, uh, as well as the Shipai Bidroho, or what we call a Shipai Mutiny in 1857, all has been through the vicious and clever tactics by the British government. And there was kind of a mood all over spread upon in deep in Bengal and all over India as well, that are we going to attain our independence as we ever wanted? Then some people, they were not in that particular mood. They were thinking differently. And the sudden visit of one Japanese person by the name of Okakura has flamed up the issue like anything. So that was the period about 1900 to 1901. Okakura was visiting Kolkata. So there has been a meeting arranged in Indian Association Hall, uh, present where the Hindu hardliner barrister Pramoto Mitra, uh, in my opinion, if I can remember correctly, Sri Aurobindo, the brother of Swami Vivekananda Bhupen Datta, Justice Gurudas Banerjee, Justice Sharada Charan Mitra, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Okakura was accompanied by Bhogini Nivedita. So they all have decided on a point that we have to do something which will be a real threat to British government, and will have our independence, the long awaited independence will be ours very soon. So that was the purpose of the meeting, and Barrister Pramotonath Mitra was elected the president of that particular society. Then Pramotonath Mitra was about to form a Shomiti by which all the activities can be taken into further proceedings and other things in one way. So he could find one Mr. Shotish Kumar Basu in the General Assembly Hall in 1902 in a gymnasium, and they thought of forming one Shomiti. Initially, it was called the Bharat Shomiti. Then Pramotonath Mitra was a next door neighbor of Rishi Bankim, and he was quite fond of his literature and his Hindu philosophies. So, by the idea of Onushilan Tattva, the name of the society has been finalized as Onushilan Shomiti, and that was initially established in 21 Madan Mitra Lane in Kolkata in 1902, later to be shifted at Cornwallis Street, uh, 49 Cornwallis Street. So that was the initial stage of Onushilan Shomiti and initial formation of Onushilan Shomiti. Later, Chittaranjan Das, Deshabandhu, he became the vice president of Onushilan Shomiti. There came Sri Aurobindo, Bhupendranath Bosu, Bhogini Nivedita, Bipin Chandra Pal, all has been quite an important role to be playing in Onushilan Shomiti in coming days. So that was the first phase of Onushilan Shomiti that we know. But normally these are the informations I don't know how far all of us are aware of. But during the period 1902 to 1905, the Anushilan Shumiti was more busy or more intellectual than on actions. They have been more or less to anti-government lectures, some threatening lectures to the government, but that were not exactly putting British into a much trouble. Now, in 1904, most probably, if I'm not wrong, Lord Curzon visited Dhaka and being received by the Nawab Salimullah with an immense gratification that with a VCS purpose of partition of Bengal. And all of you must know that Nawab Salimullah in Dhaka was quite in favor and in supportive role, played a supportive role while Lord Curzon blessed that particular idea of partition of Bengal. And ultimately, that eventuated into a reality in 1905. The Bengal and whole of India was ready to be sparked off. Bipin Chandra Pal visited Dhaka on that purpose in 1905, and he gave a very sparkling lectures to all the people condemning this particular act by the British government. Meanwhile, Barrister Pramothanath Mitra was traveling to Dhaka for a different reason. So he joined him, and both of them called upon a meeting. And Pramothanath Mitra loudly said that, is there anybody who can come out and sacrifice his life for his country? So he said, and quite angrily, the sword has been drawn. And either that is to be thrust upon to our enemy's breast or to our own, who are ready. So came out a person who will write the history of India's freedom struggle in the latter part, and now what we are doing, and who was good enough to chill the spines of British Emperor during that time, was a revolutionary Pulin Bihari Das. Dhaka Anushilan Samiti was formed in 1906. Pulin Bihari Das was selected as chief commander, and one very famous lawyer, Anand Chakraborty, has been given the post of president. And that was the starting of Dhaka Anushilan Samiti and aftermath of Anushilan Samiti as such. Now, Pulin Bihari Das was what? And the discussion point that we will carry forward right today, through the discussion it will come out, what a revolutionary can ever be. Now we'll talk about, I've just seen few days back, the best of revolutionaries in the world. Within the first 10 people, there are only one name from India which has featured, and that is, you can imagine whose name that would be. And I'm sure your imagination will go wrong, because that name is M.K. Gandhi. Within the first top 10 revolutionaries in the world, only one revolutionary featuring is our Gandhiji. But we will discuss now that at least out of the 10 top revolutionaries in the world, we will find 4-5 great revolutionaries from India to feature in there. Now we'll go on with the discussion, and we'll say to that, let us discuss about the point of Dhaka Anushilan Samiti and other things.
Well, Bishuda, I would like to know one thing from you at this juncture. It is said that the Dhaka Anushilan Samiti did outsmart the original branch in Calcutta. Is it true? It's completely
Yeah,
outsmarted the.
by the time I have told you so many things that Anushilan Samiti started in 1902, and by the time it is 1906, there are few activities that we really know of. I would, you also quite a lot knowledgeable person as much as I know. You also go through quite a lot of historical facts. Do you know, Onimitro, any kind of activity that has happened during the period 1902 to 1906? Now,
Unfortunate.
the following
No.
the inception of Dhaka Anushilan Samiti, I can tell you there are few incidents that are all happening after 1906. Now, let me give you those examples. Alipur bomb case, 1908, including which includes Sri Aurobindo Upen Bandyopadhyay. Am I correct?
Mm.
1908, 1908, Khudiram Boshu is throwing bomb to the cart of Kingsford in Muzaffarpur. It's 1908. 1908 only Alipur bomb case. 1908 Khudiram Bose is the case in Muzaffarpur. Now in 1908, yes, Tony Mitru, you're telling something?
Yes, yes. Also, the brutal murder of Naren Gosai, also in 1908.
The Naren Goshai is at the same time in the 1908 only.
Mm.
Now, there are so many other incidents. The reason that we are sitting today and discussing about those points is during that time in 1908, there are some big revolutionary activities being done by Pulin Bihari Das in Dhaka and other places that we don't know. 1908 and 1909, there are incidents of Bora Dakaiti, there are incidents of Noria Dakaiti, there are incidents of Shatipara boat theft, there is an incident of Rajendranath train case, there is an incident of Dariyapada Dakaiti, there's an incident of DC Allen murder case. One of the relative of Pulin Bihari Das, Shishir Guho, he killed Allen, but it is the ploy of British government to say that Allen was a magistrate of Dhaka. It is a ploy of British government to say, and it is being written in the history book, but it is not written in the police file that Allen actually died out of his bullet shot. Now, see, we have seen, we have known by the history and by the normal people, Alipur bomb case. We know about the Khudiram Bosu's act of neutralizing Kingsford. But we don't know Bara Dakaiti, we don't know Noria Dakaiti, we don't know Rajendrapur train case, we don't know Shatipara boat theft, we don't know BC Allen. So it can be well understood quite easily that the
Well,
activities of Dhaka Anushilan Committee was so overpowering that has really created a threat to the British government, and that
so
was
what?
you can yeah.
So I would like to know what I'd like to know your viewpoint on what led to the omission of this enormous, this exceedingly important chapters in the Indian history. What led to the omission? Why are not it included?
Sorry, can you just again come out with your question?
Okay, I would like to know. your view, Stan, what do you think that why these immensely important chapters have been excluded from the Indian history? These are very excessively important cases we have talked about just now. This Braha Dakayati and the others ones. But these things have found no mentioning in the Indian history till now. What can be the reason?
Only Mitra, it is better to be. It is not a question to be asked to me. It is a question of who has written the history, and it is a question meant for the interpreters of the historians who has
Mm.
been given the importance to. It is an
No,
important.
no. One thing
Now,
is getting clear. One thing is getting clear that our history is completely incomplete. Our history is
Pulin,
completely incomplete.
it is what Pulin Bihari Das was telling in his book, that he has gone through the books of W.H. Hunter, Ramesh Datta. Uh, so he said, perhaps the earlier the historians used to write some good facts. Nowadays, those facts are not there. It is more a story than the facts. It is the complaint made by Pulin Veridas himself when he was a student. Now, the thing is, I tell you one thing. 1910, Barrister Pramotha Mitra died. So were Bhagini Nivedita in 1911. 1912, Pulin Bihari Das was being detained and being sent to Andaman jail. 1912 itself, Sri Aurobindo has decided to go out of politics, and he was planning to go to Pondicherry. 1915, Bagha Jotin died. Now, the total shift during that time was in such a mess, and the revolutionaries, they were not finding any directions. So they resort to the idea of socialism in some way. They resort to the idea of Gandhiji's Troi Borjon, or non-violence and other things. So that may be one reason that we have come out with that the revolutionary, the hardline thinking has been given a jolt during that period of time.
Mm.
Now, the thing is, the only revolutionary organization during that time was open and working underground was the Dhaka Anushilan Shomiti. You can imagine, you know it all, that the Bandhav Shomiti, Jugantor Dal, because
Mukti
Naren Ghosh was,
Sangho,
yes,
Mukti
and
Sangho,
uh,
Mukti Sangho.
Shurit, Mukti Sangho, Shurit
Mm,
Shomiti, all
mm,
were not working during that time, but the only one organization that was working pretty much in underground, that is the Dhaka Anushilan Shomiti. Because Pulin Bihari Das was behind the bars during that time, and he was in Andaman. So his influence in the revolutionary front was so high, the Anushilan Shomiti was on its absolute move during that period of time. Now, I tell you one
true.
thing, I may not have missed it, that, during that time, FC Dali, DIG CID Lal Bajar was giving a note to British government and a copy to British Emperor. The Dhaka branch, which was organized by the ex-deportee Pulin Das, because Pulin Das has already been deported there. Under the guidance of P. Meter and Bipin Chandra Pal, eventually became an extremely well-organized body, and the discipline and audacity of its member made it more formidable than the head Samiti in Kolkata.
Mm. It's true.
So it is
Completely.
the DIG-CID Lal Bajar FC Dali in the year
That means it,
1900.
that means it is the British analysis, and
It
we
is,
can take it as a form, and we can take
yeah,
it as a form of appreciation.
Yes, your question, whether the Dhaka Anushilan Samiti really outsmarted
Yes.
the.
Yeah.
So it is not me who is telling. It is not that
Hmm.
Pulinjani Das telling himself. It is the British DIG CID FC Dali from Lal Bazar is stating to British government that Dhaka Anushilan Samiti is a formidable power, even outsmarted the head Samiti in Kolkata. There is
Thank
another
you
thing
very
I can
much.
tell. There is another thing I tell you that the Sedition Committee report and H.L. Salkate in his report of Shamiti, in part 4, section 7, in the page 234 to 270, he said, at one time, Dhaka society had 500 branches in town and villages. Dhaka Anushilan Samiti was, throughout the whole period, the most powerful of these associations. It was originally in Dhaka, formed by Pulin Bihari Das. It is clear that the Anushilan is an extremely well organized revolutionary society of which Pulin is the head. From this, it follows that history of the Anushilan is the real history of Pulin. So this
And all the
particular
and all this to portray the excellence of the Purin Beheda school of thought. So my next
yeah,
question to you, sir.
yeah, that will come later. But of course, the
Mhm.
that is a resultant factor of Pulin Bihari Das, his
Certainly.
activity in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, so I'd like to know, as a part of this very race, when the respected revered Purin Beheda school of thought, we have learned what have been from this history that emphasis on martial culture and other aspects has been the mantra of his life. He is one of the, or he's not one, but the only one who has gone through records, who has experimented, and perhaps we can certainly say that he is the sole only one researcher in the modern times in the Indian context, especially in the context of Bengal, that who has um, concentrated on the use of arms, ammunition, and martial culture, and that happens to be the core ideology, core concept of the Pune school of thought. But in this respect, I would like to know, after 1927, what had been the role of Purinbari School of Thought to reorganize the revolutionary societies like the Birashtra Utsav and also the other aspects of Indian revolutionary struggle that even attracted Subhash Chandra Bose?
if you have to know someone's school of thoughts, Onimitru, it is a continuous process. Of course, it has started in 1906 till the time he died. The school of thought, what we have come to know in his managerial book, what we know as উপক্রমণিকা সম্পাদকের কর্তব্য and পরিদর্শন. There also Britishers, they have done quite a research on it, and they tried to modify and apply in their own country that we don't know in many of us, that the managerial theory which has been the Akota, that was being told by the Britishers as the unity leaflets,
Hmm.
Protiggapatra, and what is to be done, what is the initial formation of an organization, how the organization will run, and what would be the organization's duty towards the motherland. Now, the thing is, there are some big Indian organizations are always following their his tactics and organizational dynamics that we can see. At least I can see that. Now, first of all, if we don't know what is our mind says, we fight on the basis of religion. We don't fight on the basis of, for example, this is what about what all about Pulimberi Das's vision. We don't fight on the basis of if somebody is attacking me, or somebody is attacking my religion, or somebody is attacking my entity in general. Then I have to fight it out. Otherwise, somebody will engulf my total entity. So that was one of his prime object of uh, social uh, responsibility. These are all our social responsibility. So he used to say quite often that Shorir Maddang Khalu Dharma Sadhana. That clearly states that you have to make your body, you have to be very, very strong yourself within, firstly, physically. If you are physically strong, that will lead to a very mental stubbornness and mental strength. That will further lead to your character. That will further lead into the kind of a mind that you are ready for the society and for your motherland. So if these are not there, if you are too busy looking at your body, and you are always sick physically, then you will automatically be sick mentally, and you will be automatically sick character wise. It's quite obvious. If I ask you only through a simple question, somebody who has gone to IIT and have passed it, gone through, he has got a tremendous brain. He has passed, he has cleared IIT, and his only plan in his life, not the engineering, but of course, some big company which will pay him around 25 lakhs or 50 lakhs or 1 crore. Am I talking sense?
Certainly. Mm.
If somebody is going for the education, Pulimberi Das used to always say that if you are going for the education, you apply because you have got a rare brain as a mathematician.
Mm.
For that reason, you have gone to IIT. Or you are reaching out of IIT just for the reason, very simple reason, that you will go for a big salary. It's not that you are going to exercise what you have learned. This is a normal experience of ours. So the once we are talking about the Pulimberi, the school of thoughts, now very simply, in one way I can say that if you have to run an organization, then you need to have certain roadmaps. You need to have certain strategies. You need to have certain activities to take care of. Now, if Pulimberi Das has ever thought of making a revolution. So, can you imagine the kind of a roadmap, kind of a strategy, kind of a organizational dynamics are being required for? So that all he has.
Exactly. That's called that makes him a visionary, and that makes him a visionary. There's no doubt to it. Why I am harping on this single issue of Pulin Bay, the school of thought, is that there have been tens of thousands of respected revolutionaries from Bengal in the last 100 years. There's no doubt to it. But unfortunately, except him, this person, we have not been able to find a single alternative or single individual who has given so much importance on the society, on how to shape the society for the betterment, how to defend it, and how to go for the offensive when necessary. That means, had he been, it's my reading at least, had he been born into a very independent country or in the first country of Europe, he should have attained the position of Nelson. There's no doubt to me, and there's no doubt to others as well. So, Bishuda, in this context, I would like to know what in now the society we are seeing at the moment is unfortunately uh, going to the ruins. It's already on the ruins. What we are saying, a society and human beings, they're not interested to go for hard labor, but for quick money. So in this staggering world, In this era where everything is falling down so rapidly, especially the modal fiber, how can the Pulin-based school of thought help or be the torchbearer to lead us to a more sacred and more, uh, I don't know, it's a betterment, but to a life that has some meaning, that can produce something that can generate good to the country, to the family, and to others? What can be the social good for in the case?
For that matter, we'll be requiring the personalities like great Subhash Chandra Bose. Uh, Now, how? You know, Subhash Chandra, when Pulin Bihari Das started off the activities during 1906, Subhash Chandra Bose only 9 years old, but he was born before the ages. So he
Mm,
knew about Pulin Bihari Das right from that time.
mm,
So by the time he stepped into Kolkata, means in college in Kolkata, he knew all the activities of Anushilan Shramiti and more about Pulin Bihari Das during that time, only during 2015 and so. And you'll be quite amazed to know when Subhash Bose was in England, he used to keep all the information regarding Pulin Bihari Das, Dhaka Shorajandra Mamla, uh, the when Pulin Bihari Das will be released from Andaman jail, and it was happening in the same time. Pulindari Das was released from the Andaman jail by 1920, and this time, and Subhash Chandra Bose was leaving Cambridge by 1922. So the time was quite a interesting time. So Subhash Chandra Bose came to Kolkata. He came straight down to the house of Chittaranjan Das. He was his political guru, and through Chittaranjan Das, he used to visit to Pulin Bihari Das's house to know about the revolutionaries' roadmap. So this is during the period 1922 to 1925, 26, 27. Subhash Bose was elected the mayor of Kolkata during 1930. By this time he was quite close to Pulin Bihari Das, and he was started following him. 1938, 39, he became the president of Congress, if I'm not wrong.
no, you're completely right. So the in this context, sir, in this context, I would like to know. I'd urge you or request you to exemplify the Gandhi and Das conflict that happened in 1928. The one of the greatest conflicts of two completely opposite philosophical viewpoints and philosophical standpoints, one for the moderates, one for the revolutionary. And I think it is not known to many persons in the history that Pule Bedas has been the first individual to point to go against the wild theories of a person called Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi alias Mahatma Gandhi. And it happened all in Calcutta. So I'd like to ask Vishwada to concentrate on this subject.
Yeah. Now the thing is, um, after the arrival of Subhash Chandra Bose in Kolkata in 1922, Pulin Bihari Das has been approached by Deshobandhu Chittaranjan to take care of the Congress Council, which Pulin Bihari Das declined categorically. So, since Subhash Chandra Bose being quite close to Pulin Bihari Das, Chittaranjan Das wanted Subhash to pursue the matter with him. So, Subhash Chandra Bose, along with barrister Biren Shashmal, in the house of Biren Shashmal itself, they approached Pulin Bihari Das. Pulin Bihari Das said, I don't agree on this non-violence, and I'm sorry, I don't agree this Troy Borjon, that is, we know that council and the law and other three. Exactly, I have forgotten. That is known fact in the history that you can know from it. But I cannot mm, accept this particular point of Congress, as well as because Congress is being controlled by the philosophies of Gandhiji. So I cannot accept. But at this moment of time, I can still keep aside the violence, though I believe without violence and without fighting, you cannot evict the British culture and their laws from our country. But still, at this moment of time, I can agree upon to keep aside the violence, but not the Troy version. So they put the matter in front of Gandhiji, and Gandhiji was a very intelligent person. Gandhiji wanted that you couldn't convince Pulin, why not me? So Gandhiji asked one day to Chittaranjan Das that you better arrange one meeting with me and Pulin Bihari Das at your residence in Kolkata, which happened during that time only at the house of Chittaranjan Das, and that continued for about 3 days. Now, I give you at this moment in a very short time what was the basic discussion between Gandhiji and Pulin Bihari Das. Gandhiji told him that what have you done so far by doing violent activities? You couldn't get your independence. To answer, Pulin Bihari Das said, how can I be so sure that we didn't get our goal? In nowhere in the world, so far I know, that the revolution has come in 1 year, 2 year, 4 years. It takes time. But I cannot accept your word that we have been a failure. Number two point, Gandhiji said, but you'll be requiring a lot of money. To that question, Pulin Das said, well, why? We'll have, and this is Onimitra, is the school of thought that you are asking.
Mm.
We will
Definitely.
manufacture our weapons, we will manufacture our food, we will manufacture everything in an indigenous state of the art way in our country only, so that we don't depend on the Britishers for anything. Then Gandhi said, don't you think that we'll be requiring the independence of soul? Because as per the Gita, that is what, to, to which Pulin Das answered, I don't believe that. I don't believe, and I don't believe that in Gita it has ever mentioned anywhere. First of all, we need our social and living attainment of independence. We want very much in Bengali what is said that jagotik and সামাজিক স্বাধীনতা.
That was the material conditions of life.
Yes, first of all, and we can jolly well conclude in that manner that Gandhiji was speaking about the spiritual independence. But how can you reach upon to that spiritual thing unless and until you are materially sufficient to take care of your soul and your body and your society further? Then you can think about your spiritual independence. It cannot come first. And he said, we are not going to build a country of the pilgrims and sons. We are the ordinary people. And the ordinary people, the way they want the material things, we want the same thing. So that was basically discussion. But one day we will come out with that particular issue of Pulin Bihari Das and Gandhiji. It was a big issue we can discuss about. In a short time, I have told you that. And Gandhiji was quite furious. You know, I'm sorry, Pulin, you are not in a mood to listen to me.
And that's for the first time the colossal personality called Mahatma Gandhi was quite defeated by a revolutionary colossal called Purun Bihari Das. And for the
Perhaps.
audience, not perhaps, sir. You are quite humble. You're quite humble, but I do consider it. It was a utter defeat. It was an utter defeat. And for the persons who are watching the show or will get into the show, what has been said just now by Vishwada is nothing but another concept of Hinduism. The Hinduism doesn't deal with spiritualism only; it's also highly materialistic. If we go through the concepts of the chronicles of Sukracharya to Kautilya and to the others, what has been said by them that material conditions must be fulfilled before the spiritual the spiritual attainment, that the same thing had been said by Sri Das once more at the time, where the entire India was at the feet of this person called Sabarmati K. Gandhi. Now we are on the verge of this ending that we will once again bring back Vishwada in a different show, obviously. But before end, I would like to ask a single question, Vishwada. Bongobam Shomite had been the dream of Purin Das in his later years. Unfortunately, due to humongous political conspiracies in Bengal through the governments in succession, it is no more. If I do ask you as an ordinary individual, what should be done to recover Bangiam Byam Samiti and the lost heritage, and also to intensify the Purin school of thought? What can be the best answer from you?
In that case, I'll be pretty harsh and with conviction, I will say a few words. That in 1928, it was initially by Subhash Chandra Bose, and in 1938, 30, when Subhash Chandra Bose was a mayor, he has given the land to Pulin Bihari Das to form Bongyo Vyam Samiti, which will nurture the young bloods to become the future soul of India. And it has been such an impressive activity, and the module, Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose was quite happy and quite impressed. So this is the legacy of Bongyo Vyam Samiti, which has started in 1 by 1 Vidyasagar Street, Kolkata, not Kolkata today. But we will go later on about the history of Bongyo Vyam Samiti. That is a different thing. Now, if you go to the Bongyo Vyam Samiti premises, you will see one thing, that these place of worship has been converted into a marriage reception hall by whom you can pretty well know from there. The local people are there. And what is to be done? So those people who has done it, they should break it. If they're the real cultured people, if they are really doing good for the society, if they are promising a lot of good things, if they should break it. It is their duty. Who has made it a marriage hall, a place of worship? Can you imagine? If somebody has broken a
True.
mandir, if somebody has broken a mandir, it is his job to make a mandir again. He has done a crime, not me, not you, or not other people. How funny and how audacious, stupid work or insipid work one can imagine. A place of
The-
worship has been demolished to prepare to make pathways for a marriage reception hall. I'm sorry.
that's the stunning reality of Indian history. And when we say the moral fiber falls through, it can be found. If you want to know the instance why we are saying this, what has been said by our honored guest just now, the place of worship has been transformed, has been converted into a marriage reception hall. How unsuccessful we are, how ungrateful we are that we have toyed with the examples of history. And with this, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you, Bishada, for joining us. Thank you once more for spending a lot of time with us. And to the audience, on the next Saturday at 8 at the same time, the same okay, same place, we shall be back with more issues. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.